Monday's stock market decline was blamed on Facebook's sudden drop. What are the market implications ahead?
Well, it's a lot to sort of blame an entire market decline of huge substance on one particular stock. But if there is one that you can blame it on, it's one of the market leaders like Facebook. Something to keep in mind here is if you define FANG with two A's, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google, you would basically end up with about 25% of the market cap of the NASDAQ 100 index. That's a lot for one index to be carrying. And what that also means is that if there's real trouble in one of those five names, you're really looking at a decline that has very far-reaching implications. And that's what we saw on Monday. The bigger problem also with Facebook is that this isn't necessarily a one and done. It's not necessarily like, oh, well, they missed their earnings, but they'll make it next quarter. This really goes into the question of whether there is a cloud over the company. And that's the kind of thing that will take some time to work itself through. But in the initial phase, there was certainly a lot of bad press. You didn't hear much from either Mark Zuckerberg or Sheryl Sandberg in a direct way. On Tuesday morning, you started to hear that there are various federal and state agencies looking into it. That's the kind of bad news that's hard to wash away in a one-day decline, which is why you saw the stock continue to move lower, at least as of Tuesday morning. The problem there being, if Facebook isn't seen as a neutral arbiter, that may make commercial advertisers a bit more reluctant to advertise on Facebook, and that's really where Facebook's revenue comes from. Think about it. If you're getting a product for free, you pretty much are the product. That was a network television model where they gave you network television and they basically were supplying eyeballs to advertisers. And in this case, Facebook has certainly moved that model ahead one century, but essentially they're providing you this product where you're hopefully engaged with, and you will engage with the messages that advertisers are giving you. If they're not seen as a neutral arbiter or not seen as someone who's protective of your data, because again, going back to the network TV model, they didn't really know who was watching a program except for a few Nielsen families. In this case, Facebook is collecting all kinds of data on all its users all the time. If they're not protective of that data, that really can affect their model, their business model, in a major way. We're far from that right now. We're 2 days into this latest crisis, so I don't want to sound like, oh, this is the death knell for Facebook. That would be unfair and premature. But the market has to wrestle with all this. And when you get these one-way, one-decision stocks, they used to be called the one-decision stocks at one point in the market history, because your only decision was whether to buy them or not, and when to buy them or not. No stock over time has proven to be a true one-decision stock. But in this case, you've had sort of five of them leading the NASDAQ and by proxy the S&P 500 higher. And if you start to see cracks in those models, that's the kind of thing that could be a danger sign for the market going forward in the longer term. How do you replace that leadership? And as leadership gets narrower and narrower, it gets ever harder to replace a major leader if that gets taken out of the picture. So Facebook is certainly a watch and wait situation with major implications, certainly for the tech leadership of the market, but it is a very fluid situation as I sit here.